Hello, beautiful patriots.
Hello, Patriots, Nods, Digital Soldiers, and Proud Deplorables.
This is
And
Carrie,
this is Joel
and we are the Quiet Boys.
of Truth.
As always, that was Guitarzan on the intro.
Yeah,
If you haven't already, guys, go check them out on YouTube.
absolutely.
All
So,
right. So happy Sunday, everybody.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
as promised, we have our special guest, Danno, otherwise known as Snarkish Danno on Twitter. And he is going to be going over one of his amazing Antarctica threads with us today.
Absolutely. You there, brother?
I are here.
All right, awesome. So, yeah, we're going to get ready to get into this. I want to pull up the thread here that I was looking at and get this so you guys can see it too.
Right. I hope everybody is having a really nice Sunday afternoon today.
Absolutely. We wanted to give people enough time to get home from church to enjoy this,
Mhm.
and we will do so. One thing that we are going to be doing today is kind of also trying to debunk some really out there theories about some of this stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of really out there theories when it comes to Antarctica, right, guys?
Definitely. Yeah, there's enough really odd and interesting stuff down there that we don't need to make stuff up to make it weird.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where we're better off sticking with what we can show and prove versus create. So
I agree.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to kind of touch and go on this. And at some point, I'm going to go ahead and turn over the control to you, Danno, so you can show people what you do and all the stuff you found, because it is very interesting.
I look forward to it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start off with this right here. So this is the thread we were looking at. And we talked about this a little bit before, you and I, Danno, and this is very, very, very strange. So I'm going to go ahead and read it here. It says, "It's time. If you have read my previous Antarctica digs, you'll know that there is a seeming hyper interest in the area by the world elite. In the current era, it dates back to Hitler and his obsession with the occult and its effect on Nazi Aryan destiny." Yeah. So now, Dana, what are we looking at here? This is
a recreation of a Nazi map of what they call New Schwabenland, or however you say it in German with the correct guttural
Sounds good to me,
German
yeah.
accent. But anyway, they basically in the 40s got down there and they planted flags or dropped flags from airplanes, as it were, and kind of mapped out a basic area, which you see as the dotted outline there. Hitler was very interested in Antarctica, whether it was from an occultic standpoint or whatever. He just had a very, very big interest in that area. So they kind of put their flags down, as it were.
Yeah. So all these different points is where they'd marked off or put their flags down.
Yes.
Taking, yeah, wow. So that's that. And how big would you say that area is that covers right there, Dana?
Oh, well, give me just a second. I'll tell you.
Well, you can see on the bottom, it says 100 kilometers.
Right.
Is that?
Yeah, but we speak
That
in miles.
area
We don't
there,
speak in
so.
kilometers here.
Yeah.
850 miles or so
Wow.
across
Pretty big
at the
chunk.
widest point.
We're the only country that's not on the metric system, by the way. What the heck?
Yeah, right.
I really kind of wish we would just go to the metric system, but that's just me.
We prefer to be unique.
Yeah, that's how we are.
And confuse all of our children. At least we don't make them convert anymore. Convert inches and feet to centimeters and meters, because that's ridiculous. It doesn't convert.
Right. That is pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and roll down here. Danno, you said, "I'll be touching briefly on the Nazi landing and base, but that is not the primary direction of this thread. Admiral Byrd ran into some pretty crazy difficulties down under as well during Operation High Jump. If we take away the flying discs, he still had to deal with the temps and the crazy issues that negative 60 degrees cold brings to everything." Oh man, that's freezing weather.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd. I mean, there's so many different places we can go with that. I mean, that's a complete and separate conspiracy theory in and of itself. What he discovered down there, the flying discs, et cetera, et cetera. Operation High Jump, which I will touch on briefly. just to show that he actually never got anywhere near the Nazi area based on what maps we have. You know, man, it just yeah.
Yeah.
It's just,
Enough
there's
said.
just so many things. I mean, you know, his death and his diaries and the things that he found, and so many people take, you know, I mean, we get into the Hollow Earth and the Agartha and all that stuff, and you know, yeah, it's cool, but I don't really want to go down that path. I'd
Mhm.
really rather stick to things that we can identify, put our finger on, and go from there.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. So what is this here? Was this from Admiral Byrd? Like a
That's actually supposedly a photograph of part of Admiral Byrd's diary.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay. That's what I was thinking it was.
Is it?
I thought at one point I had a copy of it, um, and I went looking for it and couldn't find it, and then I went looking for it and really couldn't find it. So I'm not sure what I thought I had, but I had read some of what was supposedly his diary, and it was pretty interesting. I mean, there was some really fascinating stuff that he supposedly ran into, but I mean, I haven't seen any proof that what I read was actually his diary. Just it's a
Gotcha.
translation, or because he kind of wrote it in a code, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's strange. So
Yeah, very interesting. All right. So next we get into the Nazis surveyed and many believe found there an opening to a lush hidden world, an area called New Schwabenland. I have the original Nazi map I'll include along with my own mock-up of it on Google Earth so we can compare it with modern things. And I'm going to go ahead and make this image a lot bigger so you guys can see this here.
So what I want to know is, so we know that Antarctica is the only continent that is not owned, right, by any country, right? Nobody is
correct.
allowed to
Correct.
own any part of Antarctica, correct?
That is correct. It is shared with all countries. So there's like
Mhm.
53 countries that are part of the Antarctic Signing Treaty. What is strange, and we will touch on it later, is that there are two airfields in Antarctica that are privately owned.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very interesting. I know you and me had talked a little bit about that, and I was kind of speculating. I'm not sure, but do you think that it was like a loophole for a private company to?
Um, I don't know. It's in it's in Antarctica is carved up into areas of responsibility. I'll just use the word responsibility versus, you know, any other term.
Mhm.
And there's a big 90-degree section of it radiating from the pole that is not claimed by anybody or not assigned to anybody. And these two airfields happen to fall within that area.
Gotcha.
But there's also bases and other things in that area as well. So, man, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on that because I don't think I have an answer that I can give you that's honest or straight.
Right. You know, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's
I
better.
was
It's
just
better to
wondering
admit that.
how Hitler's people could, do all this, conduct all this research or whatever they were up to
Well, this is
over there.
prior to any of that.
Oh, okay.
Basically, the Nazis were the first ones to actually land there in force in documented times.
Gotcha.
We're not going to talk about, 12,000 years ago or 30,000 or a million years ago or whatever.
Right.
We're just discussing, modern times and modern technology. Um, so yeah, the the Antarctic Treaty happened in the early 50s, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay.
So obviously the Nazis predated that. So they
Okay.
didn't care. They were there because they wanted to be there.
They just wanted to go, and
Yeah,
and they could.
absolutely. All right. So next up, there's supposedly an opening to this base 211 in the Svarthamaren mountain range. Probably didn't say that right, but
You did
It's all
pretty
right.
well.
right. I'll include a picture out of a book I have that gives this information. Again, marked on Google Earth. Notice the proximity to the Norwegian troll station.
Yeah, they actually have a station they call Troll Station, which
It wouldn't
is
surprise
That's
me.
weird.
You ever? It reminds me of we watched a
That
movie a while back
movie, yeah,
called Troll Hunter.
Troll Hunters, yeah.
and actually I lied. It's actually Tor Field Station.
Or Field Station.
Troll is just a
Troll
little
sounds
ways away.
better though. At this
Yeah.
point.
Well, Troll's close. It's just
Yeah.
100 miles away. But anyway.
Yeah, here we go. Entrance to Nazi base 211 right here.
Now we are told that that's in the oh man, I can't even pronounce it. It's Hoffman Mountains, and based on the description given, if you go to the book description, it says that it's in a largely melted snow area. And I kind of scanned around there, and that looked like it was the most likely one, and also was fairly close to where I could plot the Nazi flags based on the new Schwabenland map. So I figured it was probably fairly close to where they had dropped some flags, because they would have dropped a flag really close to that.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of where I went with that and how I arrived at that spot. But it's not necessarily exactly right there.
Right.
That's just
But proximity wise, probably around the same area, given the information that you have.
Yeah, within 50 miles for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Which down there is close.
Oh yeah. Oh no, you see there is it looks like this is a troll station.
Yeah, there's troll over there, and then there's Tor.
Okay, I see.
Tor
well,
and troll.
Tor and troll. Huh.
Yeah.
I bet you Tor is just the female word for troll, right? And so you got a male troll. I'm just messing. Okay. So we have, what is you have Hoffman Mountain?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the one I can't pronounce.
Yeah, there's a lot down here. It's kind of hard to pronounce, but bear with us. We will get through this. And so, yeah, this looks like a little bit more zoomed out view, so you can see where we were on the first picture right here, and then the distance to
right. And later we can play with this a lot more. And
absolutely, yeah. When I turn it over to you now, this was the book, and I've heard of this book, Empire Beneath the Ice: How the Nazis Won World War II by Stephen Quayle.
Yeah, it's a very interesting book. Single source, so we got to take that for what it's worth. But the reason I got it was specifically because of its mention of this base, and it's basically one of the ones that only goes there. And it's got a lot of fascinating stuff in it. Some of it's verifiable. He's gotten notes from the German side and such, so that makes it much more interesting, because we're getting both sides of the story. It's not just from the American point of view, it's also from the German point of view and or the Russian point of view. He's actually done a lot of research. I got to give him credit. So it's one of those deals where it's a single point, but he's done such deep research into it that it's hard to argue. And so it does have the flying saucer right on the cover,
right?
And see that.
But I'm not going to go there. So
I've heard a lot of things about Hitler having access to reverse engineering technology and making crafts of that nature that we see on the cover there.
Yeah, there's a couple different paths I've heard this has happened. We had the Nazi bell,
right,
which was one version. There's actually another one. It's Flugel something. I can't remember the full term, but so yeah, basically it's either Nazi engineered or reverse engineered. And many people even today state that every UFO or flying saucer that we see or have seen are not of extraterrestrial origin. Every one of them is of terrestrial origin.
Right. Now, see, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I've heard that too. I mean, even I think Trump mentioned something about that when somebody asked him about UFOs. He goes, well, I don't believe it. But in fact, I believe a lot of them are probably ours.
Like, yeah, wow, I mean, I would say a lot of them. I'm not going to say all of them, though. I mean, because who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the guys like, what's his name? Now I can't even remember. The guy that was an engineer, and he claimed he saw 7 of them off-world craft, but he didn't know for sure. He just
that would have been Bob Lazar, right?
Lazar, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though his story has been kind of somewhat debunked because of his connections to the CIA and stuff, there's always truth in everything. You just have to pick it out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another thing that I remember hearing was that Hitler had a group of women. What were they called?
It was, the Vril Society.
Vril Society.
Yes.
Yep.
And wasn't there some connection supposedly to an extraterrestrial being? One of the ladies, I think, was like Pleiadian or something, from what I remember hearing.
It was like
I don't know. Who knows?
I
That's
think
one of
she was
those.
like a channeler or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, it was something like that.
Jay-Z Knight back in the 40s.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this looks.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Danno. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I
cut
was
you
just going to say, if you can read it here, the part that I have highlighted is actually from a speech by Admiral Donitz, who was the captain of the U-530 U-boat, and he was talking about a new Shangri-La, and then
off.
this is what they derived from it, that most of the rumors, if it really existed, was located in a prominent ice-free mountain in the Mullig Hoffman Mountains of New Schwabenland, which is what we already saw.
Right, absolutely. All right, so let's get rolling here. Zoom this in for you guys. All right, so next we have more info for the above tweet, too much to fit into one. Now, this is a same picture we just saw out of this first one, correct?
Yeah, I think it's just a really zoomed in version.
Yeah. Also notice that the preponderance of bases located within the Nazi mapped area seem to be predominantly blonde and blue types. I don't think it's anything in particular, but something of interest to note given the Nazi preoccupation of that ideal racial type.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
interesting.
that is very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funky when you start looking at who all's there. You got Norway, you got Sweden, you've got South Africa, which is predominantly of Danish and English origin. So again, blonde hair, blue eyed. German, Sweden, Finland. Not too far away is Argentina, which you can throw in all the Nazi connections to Argentina.
Right, there's some very strange ones there.
Yeah, that's a whole full week series in and of itself.
Yeah, no joke. No joke.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, there's an India base there, and there's even some arguments that show that India is part of the original Aryan culture, at least northern India. So yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms that we can get into at another point for sure. Very
anyway. So yeah, it's just interesting that seems that there's a lot of that type of archetypical, blonde hair, blue eyed, that just all happen to settle right in the Nazi area. It just seems strange to me.
Yeah, interesting. Do you want to take this one, Kerry?
How about we let Danno?
Oh yeah, Danno, go ahead. You take this one.
Basically, we already touched on this. This is actually a picture from Operation High Jump when they were planting a flag. I'm not sure where they were planting it, but it was definitely Antarctica somewhere. Then we get to Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump. More specifically, his supposed diary of said operation and its results. His death not long after, and the odd contents of his diary have been the speculation of conspiracy theorists for decades now.
Gotcha.
Basically, I'm segueing into where I really want to go with the thread here. But if we have learned anything in the past 2 years, conspiracy theory is not a bad word. It just means more digging is needed. Basically, it's just me being my smart ass self. Now, after saying, okay, that's cool and all, but we know all that, we expect better of you, Danno. Yes, I'm aware of this, but I come bearing gifts, I swear. No rotten tomatoes yet.
I love the little picture of the guy in stocks right there.
Yeah, but if you open that up, someone pointed this out to me after the fact. He's wearing red shoes.
Oh, he is. It almost looks like he's got one yellow shoe too.
What is that? Yeah.
Maybe that's a jester.
Nah, maybe yeah, but that one red shoe, yeah.
So, I was like, I need to see that.
He doesn't look too happy about it though. That much right now.
I wouldn't be either. It looks like there's wet tomato around his head. So.
Yeah, it does. Oh man.
So basically, at this point, I'm just explaining that before we go any further, all the Google Earth stuff that you'll see in this thread are images and locations of my own work. Meaning I've taken the time to plot and verify the location of each and everything I've tagged as a point in these maps. As far as I know, this may be the most complete mapping of points in Antarctica. I looked for months for something like it and couldn't find anything, so I decided to make my own. And I have shared the Google KML file on my feed so that people can.
It's on ours as well, so if people want to check it out.
So if you want to check it out, you can do so. Just download it. It's free. It's just from my public Google Drive that I've got set up. and you can grab it, add it to your Google Earth, and you will be able to see everything that we'll be able to show you later. But it's basically what you're seeing in all these pictures.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Don't utilize the link there. That's an old link. It's a dead end. So
Okay.
Right.
because it's been updated a couple times since I even did this thread. So
Okay.
all right. So moving on. Do I think that any of the above has anything to do with what I'm going to show below? Other than the search for the occultic unknown, no. New Schwabenland is too far out of the way by hundreds of miles to even be a part of what I bring forth below. If you enlarge that image, the closest point that we're going to discuss in this particular thread to the temple to New Schwabenland is how many miles is that? I can't read it. 898 or basically
898.66.
Yeah, so call it 900 miles away. So Antarctica is huge, folks.
Mhm.
Yes.
Most people don't realize it is very, very large, and so we're talking, nearly 1,000 miles difference in distance between the closest point of approach to anything that the Nazis had to do here. So you can see the 4 main points that it shows there. That's kind of the arc of what this thread is about.
Yeah,
is those 4 points.
Boom, boom, bang,
How did they get their names? Rothschild Island, Temple of the One, Trinity Church.
Let's just save that for later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta have some surprises.
Oh,
Let's just call
man.
that a tease.
Yeah.
For real.
I love it.
Before I get going too much on the new stuff, let me say this has taken me well over 6 months to get to the point of being able to write this. Ever since my first dig on Antarctica, I've had a suspicion that something big was down there, something inherently evil.
Mm.
In fact, I was on the verge of going further on that original dig, but something kept me from doing so. I was sort of freaked out about it, to be honest. My dig buddies will attest to this. As we talked about it, I had decided to walk away for a while. And honestly, it was like a spiritual fear of pursuing what I was going after.
Oh wow.
Oh, man.
This was not a light thing. It's probably the most scared I've ever been in my life, which is weird for me because I usually don't give a damn.
Right.
Mhm.
But it was really, it was like almost an attack, and it took me some time to get past the point of worrying about it too much, because it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'll be honest.
Right. Well, I'll just say that gives weight to the fact that this is spiritual warfare. Everything all of us digital
Absolutely.
soldiers are doing as well.
Mhm.
This is, somebody, something doesn't want us knowing stuff.
Mhm.
I was going down one particular path at the time, and I'll share it. And it turns out it was incorrect. It was basically what I was doing is I was looking for and thinking that potentially the Nazis had found an ancient supercomputer down there.
Oh, okay.
Because there are indications that they found potentially some advanced machinery, i.e., the Admiral Byrd diaries and things like that.
Mhm.
Right.
And also the known flying bells and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So anyway, it got to the point where I was digging on it. I couldn't find anything more on the computer. So basically what it was is, and I was pushing and getting to the point where it was like, okay, I know there's something here. I know there's a source of evil down here. But I'm being pushed away. I'm being rebuffed. I need to walk away from this for a while. And I'm glad I did. And then the next tweet says, the extra time let me approach the problem from another few angles, and I've resolved it to my own satisfaction. I was right, but not in the way that I was originally thinking. And I think now is the time for this to come about. Back then was too early. And I really do think that 6 months or even 8 months ago was too early for people to even come close to accepting what I've got to say in this.
Right.
And it still is maybe a little early, but we'll get there.
Right. Well, with so many changes to our reality, that we've come to accept over the last few years, I mean, I think people are more open to hearing things like this now,
Right.
just
More open
because
to
of all
questioning.
of the things that,
Yeah.
that we've
Yeah,
learned.
6 months ago it was a different atmosphere. Now we're
Yes.
in a better spot where people are more accepting of some of those ideas, and even I'm in a better spot to accept some of those ideas. I mean, I was fighting my own cognitive dissonance as well in some ways. So
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we've all been through it.
Yep.
For sure.
So let's stay in the modern discovery era of Antarctica, meaning let's focus on current events. Let's not talk about 10,000 years ago, 40,000 years ago, any of the weird stuff down there. We will probably touch on that at some point, but not in this thread. Mount Erebus, the most active volcano in Antarctica and one of only 5 volcanoes in the world with an active lava lake, and the focus of seeming interest in many elites.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit. Okay, I didn't put a picture right there. The wiki cap pretty much says it all. Mount Erebus is noted for its active lava lake, which has been in continuous activity since at least 1972, but probably much longer. Mount Erebus's volcano lake is connected to a long-lived, open and stable magma plumbing system, which might have been in place for the past 17,000 years. That's all speculation. There's no way they know one way or the other.
Right.
The current activity at the lava lake includes spattering and sometimes stromboli explosions, just meaning that sometimes it shoots stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
They can inject bombs outside the crater, bombs being what they call rocks, lava rocks that fly outside.
Mm-hmm.
Persistent lava lakes are very rare and require a delicate equilibrium between heat supply and heat loss. Heat supply is provided by rising magmatic gases from the magma chamber through a liquid-filled conduit and is counterbalanced by intense heat lost at the surface of the lava lake. There are only a handful of long-lived lava lakes in the world: Ethiopia, Congo, Vanuatu, and Kilauea. That's 5 volcanoes in the world. And interestingly enough, all 5 of them are not on a tectonic fault line. Every one of them is a hotspot volcano.
That's right. That is very interesting.
Which I believe is, we've noticed, if anybody's ever studied volcanology at all, the tectonic plate volcanoes tend to have a much thicker lava, basaltic. Whereas the Hawaiian lava is very runny and will flow forever. Where the basaltic stuff doesn't really move out that much. So
Right.
I think that has something to do with it. I think the consistency of the lava is thinner in the center of the plates, because it's more of the stuff that's coming from the core versus the stuff that's just, being created right there at the surface. Anyway, moving on. Volcanology, another one of my interests. Anyway, Erebus is an interesting name. Definition of Erebus: a personification of darkness, or a place of darkness in the underworld on the way to Hades.
Wow.
Ooh.
That right there,
Oh,
that got me when I first read that. I was like, whoa, who named this place?
Well, it was named by the British. I think it was Admiral Byrd's first trip down there. Was it Byrd? I don't remember. Anyway, but it was named for one of the ships that they actually had there. There's actually Mount Terror as well, which
that doesn't sound.
I mean, they sent
frightening at all.
Erebus and Terror down here to do this. I mean, it just
Wow.
really, guys.
Wow.
And then they named mountains after it. It's like, really. So,
What is, there's no symbolism behind that,
No,
Danno.
not at
no,
all.
not at all. It's just, yeah. But I mean, they named this mountain Erebus. So let's continue. I mean, that may not seem like much right now, but the coincidences start to add up here. Oh, there it is. The discovery and naming. I can't read it. You'll have to. It's blurry.
Let me zoom that out. Let me get that in here so everybody can see it.
There we go. Sir James Clark Ross in 1841 named it and its companion Mount Terror after his ships, the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, which were later used by Sir John Franklin on his disastrous Arctic. So they want to go south. They want to go north.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
What did you expect?
So anyway, and present on the Ross was HMS with Ross on the Arabis was young Joseph Hooker, future president of the Royal Society. And for those that aren't aware, the Royal Society is basically the Illuminati and all of those guys all wrapped up into one. And close friend of Charles Darwin. So, and again, dark region, Hades and Greek mythology, et cetera, et cetera.
The son of chaos.
Yes.
Wow. Huh.
So here is an actual picture of the caldera at Mount Erebus. This is literally what's there.
Jeez.
That looks like something from a movie. That's really crazy.
Yeah. So in the personification of darkness and a place of darkness on the way to the underworld, we have a lake of fire.
Jeez.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, literal lake of
Wow.
fire. Wow.
Literally, we have this.
That is
Okay.
crazy.
Oh man.
And did I mention it's the bottom of a pit? What do you think the bottom of a crater is? And it happens to be at the bottom of the world, too. Is it starting to ring any bells yet? I sure am hoping so. And yes, these are images of the Mount Erebus lava lake.
That is so crazy. I mean,
So,
look at
how do you think that they got these pictures?
that. Well, it almost looks like they would have had to been standing outside of it.
Yeah, but where? Go back up a little bit. Okay. Well, that's not a very good shot. But when you look down in the crater, you can't see anything.
Oh yeah, because what the heck? They would have had to
So
gone
they're
down
inside
there.
of it.
They're inside the mountain to get those pictures.
Wow. Now I've seen people with those. I don't know what they are. They're suits that they can get close to withstand the high temperatures of lava and stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're a few hundred feet away from this minimum. I mean they're not that close, but yeah.
That is crazy. That's kind of mind-boggling, right?
Yeah, it kind of leaves you speechless when you start putting it all together and you start imagining what it really is.
They would have had to gone down inside of here just to get the. No way, man. No, thank you.
Well, not necessarily.
Unless they came at it from inside somehow.
We'll touch on that later.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so some other interesting bits about Mount Erebus. Recently, geologists spent tens of millions of dollars, and literally tens of millions of dollars, in seismically mapping the mountain. This was done by laying hundreds of sensors about 6 foot long all over the mountain in a grid pattern. This was covered in one of the many Antarctic specials I found on the History Channel, and I can't for the life of me remember which one, and I still can't remember. If any of you figure it out, let me know, please. And I'd like to add it to sauce. Basically, what they did is they took these sensors and they flew all over the mountain, and they dropped them, or didn't drop them. They placed them very carefully, and they had to hook it up to a computer and stuff. And they were actually physically mapping the seismology of the mountain and the basically what they were calling the interior of the mountain. So they were setting it up so that they could look at the whole mountain and get as much info as they could out of it and figure it all out and figure out where all the passages, all the caves, everything were. And that's what they weren't saying, but that's what they could do with this. Now, here's the interesting thing. And remember, I live in Washington. I've been around for a few years. I was a kid when Mount St. Helens went off.
Oh, wow.
And I've been involved. At that time, I was hugely involved in volcanology and plate tectonics and stuff like that. So I followed Mount St. Helens pretty aggressively. Why would they go to this much effort for that mountain, the most remote mountain that they can get to in the world, which has little to no effect on humanity? I mean, this mountain could literally blow its guts out, and it wouldn't affect anybody.
And it wouldn't affect anybody, right?
Right.
Why would they go to this kind of effort and spend tens of millions of dollars, And
they have never done that on another volcano that I know of.
Huh.
I mean, they haven't done it on Mount St. Helens, and that's like the most notorious and most active volcano in the U.S.
Exactly.
Why would they do it in
that
Mount
has the
Erebus?
most? Yeah, that has the most impact on humanity.
or yeah, right? I mean, or one of the big ones down in like the Philippines, or one of the known Pinatubo or something like that. It's known to be a major explosive problem child. No, they do it on the one that's at the bottom of the butt. It's the pimple on the butt of the planet.
Right, right.
It's just it doesn't make any sense. So it's just one of those things that it doesn't add up as you go along.
Yeah, that's very strange.
And what these are, and I'll post a video later that explains part of what I think they're looking for and how it's achieved. Fumaroles. what you're looking at, click on the left picture.
Get this. Let me get this zoomed in real
Now,
good.
this is what's known as a fumarole, and this is from Antarctica. Basically, this is a steam vent from the volcano, and it forms tunnels. And then obviously it creates, as it builds, it creates its little mountain, little tube there. And but there's hundreds and probably thousands of fumaroles that are inactive that can be walked in. And there's a video that I post later that shows this. And they're all over.
Look at that.
They're all over the place down there.
Wow.
At least around the mountain, I should say.
Wow, that's crazy.
So basically, I just stayed. I'll post a video later, and I did. But I really think they were trying to map the passages within the mountain itself. We've basically been all but told that they're there. The video, they're showing it here. We know that there's passages within the mountain. Well, who's to say that? These passages obviously link to a heat source of some sort. Maybe not necessarily all the same heat source, but maybe a few of them link their way right to the main caldera.
So do you think that they could also be using this as some sort of geothermal energy for their base?
I think it's not outside the realm of possibility. McMurdo and Scott Base from New Zealand are right. They're the closest to the mountain. They're 20 miles away.
Gotcha.
Which actually is my next tweet. 22
Dasting.
miles away, sorry. It's a possibility. I don't know. And it's also a possibility that there could be other stuff there that we don't know about. I kind of touch on that a little bit later with the heat map. So
okay.
But as you can see from line of sight, your distance from Mount Erebus to both Scott and McMurdo is 22 miles. And notice also how chopped up the satellite imagery is in that whole area.
Oh, yeah.
It's not consistent. When you play with Google Earth, you'll notice that most of the time it's pretty consistent. You zoom in and you don't see a bunch of stuff. But down there, it's just a hodgepodge of crap.
Let me get this zoomed in so people can see that, because it looks like, there's stuff they don't want people seeing down here.
Yeah, it's like they're puzzle piecing it together to show what they want and nothing more.
Like fractals.
Yeah, that's very weird looking.
Mm-hmm. That's like, look here, but don't look here.
Yeah, how come they don't? You can see the bright white around the edges. How come the rest of it isn't that way?
Exactly.
Why do we have a green one, and why do we have a brown one?
Yeah, what's up with
why do we have a dark gray one, and why do we have black ones? And
yeah.
Huh. That's so weird.
It's very weird. Yeah.
Whoa.
I've noticed they do that a lot on Google Maps when they don't want you looking at something.
Yeah, and that tells me there's something that we need to be looking at there.
Could they make it any more obvious, though? Come on, guys. I know you can do better.
They're hoping that most of us are just dumb enough and placated enough by the MK Ultra brainwashing that's been going on that we don't even want to know about this.
That, brainwashed or not, look at that.
Like, that's just the way.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who come up, well, they just didn't catch it on that satellite pass, so they waited and got it on another one. Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
You run with that, Jane.
Yeah, you go ahead and believe that.
Or Jan, I should say. Sorry.
I'm going to save my money and not buy that one. So.
Yeah, exactly. There's that waterfront property in Arizona again.
Yeah.
So let's move to the other side of the continent. We've touched on the one end of the continent. If you blow up that map there, basically what we have here is we have a mountain chain, and I've kind of just roughly outlined it with paint shop and over the top of my Google Maps. That's basically a mountain chain that runs the whole length of Antarctica. What we measured out yesterday, 3,300 miles long.
Yeah, it was very long. It was a huge mountain range.
Yeah, it's a long range. So you see Mount Erebus down at the bottom.
Right here.
That's where we just were.
Right.
So we're going to go to the complete other side now, to the peninsula, and head up towards the Trinity Church area.
Got it. Let's do this.
So this is where it's...
Go back.
Oh, you just broke it.
I broke everything. It's okay.
Joel.
Okay. Have you heard of the Ark of Gabriel? No.
No.
I've heard of it.
Joel has.
From you, Danno.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, we all know the Ark of the Covenant, which let me take a quick little aside here, and one of my famous things. Ark of the Covenant is based on some research I've done and some books I have and things I've read. Is remember how it reacted, how they showed in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it seemed to shoot out like an electrical bolt and
Yeah.
pierce
Melted
people.
everybody.
Mhm.
The melting thing was
CGI. It was all
I think the melting thing was a little exaggerated, but
it was over the top. But as a kid, I loved it. I was like, oh man.
and the spirits and everything. But
Yeah.
the electrical thing is the thing that you need to focus on. See, I find it hilarious that once again, truth in myth. There's been some research done that the based on the construction of the Ark of the Covenant and what we're told of how it was built, it would make an excellent electrical conductor and capacitor.
Weird.
Okay. So, and that's why the priests had to wear special clothing to handle it. They were basically insulating themselves.
And didn't they have to cover it too?
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
I can. Well, the book's buried. I'll post up a link to the book later.
Okay.
So that other people can maybe buy it and read it or do whatever they want, so that they can understand exactly where I'm coming from. Because there's a whole nother line of thought on that, where it also, because of that, it actually can strip monofilamental gold off of gold, and that's actually what manna was monofilamental gold, and manna was given to the priests and the hierarchy and the kings to help extend their life, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and there's been some evidence that monofilamental gold is actually beneficial to human DNA and things like that. So it gets really esoteric and interesting, but anyway, so the Ark of the Covenant is basically, let's just call it electricity. Okay.
Right.
Let's just call it an electrical weapon. Now let's continue with the Ark of Gabriel. Go ahead and show replies and get us going. This article is very interesting. The Patriarch of the Russian Church, the Russian Orthodox Church, took a trip down to Antarctica. Now, basically, if you click on the "What does it mean" link, this is kind of a little bit of a rabbit hole in and of itself. And I'm going to read this whole thing to you because it's pretty intense and it's very interesting. Now, I will say this is source of fall. I am hanging my head a little bit in shame, but it is what it is. So go ahead and scroll down. And what we conclude is one of the most bizarre reports circulated in the Kremlin. The Ministry of Defense is reporting today that the global leader of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, arrived in Antarctica earlier today, where he joined up with the vast Federation naval armada transporting from Saudi Arabia the mysterious Ark of Gabriel, entrusted to Russia's care by the custodian of the two holy mosques, and performed an ancient ritual over it, read from a secret text given to him by Pope Francis just days prior in Cuba, when these leaders of Christianity's two top sects met for the first time in nearly 1,000 years.
What?
Now dissect that whole paragraph.
What the heck?
I don't even know where to start.
We have the Muslim custodian of the holy mosques, who has given the Ark of Gabriel to the Patriarch Kirill, who then had to meet the Pope for the first time in 1,000 years that the two have met.
That's crazy.
To get a text on how to safely handle this artifact.
What?
Let's keep going.
That is crazy.
According to this Ministry of Defense report, in which we had previously reported, blah, 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 the mysterious Ark of Gabriel was first discovered in Mecca on September 12, 2015 by a construction crew tunneling under the Masjid al-Haram Mosque. Sure. And who, when attempting to unearth it, were all killed by a massive plasma emission that killed a further 107.
Whoa.
Wait a minute here.
Whoa.
What?
Okay, now remember what I said about the Ark of the Covenant.
Right. Yep.
And isn't
They-
Mecca where that giant, like, what is that
The
thing?
Kaaba
Like the
stone.
obelisk
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah,
What's it called?
the Kaaba, Quabba, I believe,
Mhm.
Okay.
aka the Black Saturn cube.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Black Saturn
yes.
cube. Yeah.
Even worse, this report continues. On September 24th of 2015, during a second attempt, another massive plasma mission killed an estimated 4,000 more people,
What?
but which Saudi officials blamed on a stampede. And I
What?
remember that.
What the heck?
They blamed it on a stampede.
Yeah, there was a supposed stampede during it was one of the holy days, and there was a bunch of people, and they stampeded and killed a bunch of people.
Huh.
So basically, they discovered this, what they're calling the Ark of Gabriel, which supposedly Gabriel entrusted to Muhammad.
I'm gonna fix that for him and say it was a stampede of plasma emissions. Killed
Yeah.
4,000 more people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember Raiders of the Lost Ark? There you go.
Yeah, no joke.
Oh my gosh.
And here's what happened after this catastrophic death toll. They attempted to remove this mysterious device weapon. His Holiness Patriarch Kirill was then contacted by the Grand Mosque emissaries in regards to one of the oldest Islamic manuscripts possessed by the Russian Orthodox Church that was saved from the Roman Catholic Crusaders in 1204 when they sacked their Church of Holy Wisdom, now known as the Hagia Sophia, in Constantinople, titled Gabriel's Instructions to Muhammad. Now, basically what happened is, here, I'll just read it because it's here. Important to note, and virtually unknown in the West, were that the Roman Catholic Crusades, and like they mirror today, were not only against the peoples of Islamic faith, but also against those having Russian Orthodox faith too. And why during those Crusades, the Russian Orthodox Church not only protected their own religious libraries from being destroyed, but also those belonging to Muslims. So basically what happened is during the Crusades, the Russian Orthodox hierarchy collected and kept the holy scriptures and holy writings of Islam that were threatened by the Crusades. As to the contents of this ancient Islamic manuscript, Gabriel's Instructions to Muhammad, it centers around a group of instructions given to Muhammad by the angel Gabriel in a cave called Hira, located on one of the mountains called Jabal al-Nur near Mecca, wherein this heavenly being entrusted it into Muhammad's care a box ark of immense power. He was forbidden to use it as it belongs to God only, and was to be buried in a shrine at the place of worship the angels used before the creation of man, until its future uncovering in the days of which literally means the day of resurrection.
Gotcha.
On this December 6, 2015, this report notes Federation Naval Research Vessel Admiral Vladimirsky departed Saudi Arabia port of Jeddah. So we have a Russian research vessel leaving the port of Jeddah, which is Saudi Arabia, with the Ark of Gabriel bound for Antarctica, accompanied by a vast armada ordered for its protection by President Putin, and strangely included capsules with Russian soil will be placed in the areas of military glory and burial sites of Russian sailors at selected ports of call along the long journey to the Southern Ocean. Honestly, that sounds like a cover.
Yeah.
We're gonna take our warriors' ashes and spread them, and that's gonna be a reason for doing this.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying that either.
Now, what I want to go back up is down, sorry. Buried in a shrine at the place of worship the angels used before the creation of man. Now, remember the center point of that chain and what that center thing is called?
In the chain?
On the map of Antarctica.
Oh, are you talking about the mountain range?
Yes.
I can't remember the name of it, Danno.
The Temple of the One.
Temple of the One. That's right.
And
Temple of the One.
It's a pyramid.
Yeah, that's right.
We will show it shortly.
It's a pyramid.
heck?
Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange.
Okay. So, upon learning of the grave and global implications associated with mysterious Ark of Gabriel, this report continues. Pope Francis contacted Patriarch Kirill, requesting an urgent and immediate meeting while warning that the end is near. After which, Patriarch Kirill agreed to meet the Roman Catholic Church leader in Cuba. Now, keep in mind, Cuba.
Why?
Yeah.
Why Cuba?
These are all valid questions.
Historic meeting between these two leaders has not taken place between these churches' leaders in nearly 1,000 years. And then there's a picture of the two of them meeting in Cuba right there in February of 2016.
Wow.
So weird.
Though the exact nature of the talks remain classified at a much higher level than we're granted access to, no doubt, do state that an ancient secret manuscript was given to Patriarch Kirill by Pope Francis that pertains to the Ark of Gabriel, whose legend behind it claims it was written directly by the Watchers described in the Book of Enoch. Moving along. Just hours ago, Patriarch Kirill, while using this secret text given to him by Pope Francis, performed an ancient ritual over the Ark of Gabriel in the Russian Orthodox Holy Trinity Church, the only church in Antarctica. Technically not true, but technically true. It's the only consecrated church in Antarctica.
Yeah, it's the only consecrated church in Antarctica.
There is another church, but it's not consecrated.
Right.
And where immediately thereafter, this mysterious artifact was transported into the vast interior of this cold and foreboding continent by a highly specialized Spetsnaz unit to a destination and purpose not identified by the Ministry of Defense.
Wow.
Get back out.
Okay, let me get back here.
Go up a little here.
All right, let me get this zoomed in here.
Oh, go down. I'm sorry, go down a little bit. There's the zoom in on the Trinity Church.
Yeah, let's get this pulled up here. People can
I don't
see.
know anything about any of this. I feel like a kindergartner. Just like,
Okay.
oh my God.
Now, Trinity Church is right there, right next to the Russian station,
Yep, here we go.
Bellinghausen
Bellinghausen Station.
which sounds more German than Russian, but anyway, they're
Yeah,
Russian.
true.
You also notice there's a Chile one, and there's also another one from Argentina up there too. Okay, so back out of that and scroll up a hair and go to the map of Antarctica.
This one here.
Oh, that one there, or go down. I guess I posted it multiple times. Okay, so click on that. So at the very top, we've got the Trinity Church.
Right.
Ignore Rothschild Island for now. There we have the Temple of the One, which is inland in the vast interior of the continent.
Get this zoomed up here. Here we go. Right here.
Mhm.
Now, do I here? Let me do it this way. You want to just give me control for just a second so people can see my screen?
Let me give you this here, Danno.
I'm going to ask a really dumb
There you are.
question. So that church that we were just looking at, what is the name of that?
It's Holy Trinity Church.
That's the Trinity Church. Okay.
Yes.
And so the Temple of the One, is that an actual temple?
Well, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay. Do I have to do something on my end?
Oh yeah, it went dark. Let's see. What does he need to do, Joel?
Do we need to change something again?
It's possible.
Sorry guys, we're trying to figure out all this tech stuff. Okay, yep, we went dark. We are blacked out.
Well,
Sorry.
go ahead and take it back so we can find it on there.
All right. Let's see here.
Technical difficulties, folks.
Got it.
Please stand by.
Let me get in the thread. I did not post it. Wow, that's a serious oversight on my part. Oh, yeah, I did. Ha! Okay, scroll down to the next picture.
All right, we're back up.
Here we go. Look at this.
Oh, okay. So this is the temple?
That's the Temple of the One.
Pyramid.
Okay.
Look at that.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Okay.
That is
Now,
crazy.
people can claim it's not a pyramid. They can claim it's a natural formation. If you think that a perfectly symmetrical four-sided pyramid is a natural formation of any sort, once again, we have some wonderful real estate opportunities for you. They are waterfront, I promise. My number will be on the screen shortly. Small denomination bills.
Do you throw the Golden Gate Bridge in for free?
Yeah, exactly. New York Bridge too. Anyway, so I mean, the coincidences and the weirdness here are just going off the scale. Now, I'll show later that the Temple of the One is actually what that pyramid is labeled in Google Earth. If you go to your version of Google Earth right now and you go into the search and you type Temple of the One, comma Antarctica, it will take you right to that.
Right. Yep.
Oh wow.
Let's get this zoomed in here a little bit better for people to see, because this is definitely,
most definitely a pyramid.
You can see the shadow of the pyramid off to the left.
right over
Mhm.
here. Look at this.
Right. So
Boom. That is insane.
Now, there's some pyramids down there. I've identified 12, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that are either labeled as pyramids or such, and some of them are pretty questionable. I mean, okay, the top of them might be slightly pyramidal. I'll admit that not all of them are pyramids, but
Mhm.
there's 4 or 5 that are beyond a shadow of a doubt a pyramid.
Right.
yeah.
A couple of them are 3-sided. Some of them are 4-sided.
This one though, it's like unmistakably.
And there's
a pyramid.
no geological explanation for that, right?
None that can be reasonably approached.
Mhm.
The odds are astronomical.
Mhm.
And if not Antarctica, why haven't we seen it elsewhere in the world?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
You would think that,
Question.
it's not, glaciers and stuff are not unique to Antarctica. There's other places they happen too. Himalayas, Alps, Rockies, Cascades.
Right. So why no pyramids there?
Why no pyramids there?
Mhm.
And they're plenty ancient. They're not, those mountain chains are not young. So
Mhm.
anyway, but it goes even deeper than that. So here's a picture of one of those 3-sided pyramids that we were talking about.
Yep. Look
Oh.
at that.
Remember the mention of Buzz Aldrin and his trip, and then the tweet, "We are all in danger. It is evil itself."
Whoa, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Now, for the
That
sake
was-
of argument, I'm going to accept that it is a genuine tweet. There has been some conjecture that it was a hoax, but I've yet to see anything concrete one way or the other.
Mm.
Okay.
Well,
We are
Buzz
all-
Aldrin has said a lot of stuff. I mean,
Oh.
right.
Oh
There
yeah.
we go. There's a Google
Yeah.
Earth picture of Temple, the one right there.
Yep. Look at that. Let me get this. I'm gonna blow this up here so everybody can get a really good look at it. Very, very interesting. So here we go. This is it right here. You can even see the shadow being cast.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go on to the next one here. Look at that thing.
Oh wow.
That is a pyramid.
Now, the upper side that's kind of facing away and up is covered in snow. You can see
Right.
the snow piled up against it.
Yeah.
Right. You can even see on the shadow, like all the snow piled up right
Yeah.
here.
It's pregnant there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very definitely 4-sided. With wear. I mean, it's worn. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Weathered. I mean, it's gonna be.
Natural erosion and stuff being down there for who knows how long.
But it's definitely a 4-sided pyramid, and it's
Yeah.
actually fairly rectangular. Or square. We measured it the other day, and it was like 2,000 feet by 2,000 feet
Yeah.
across.
That's right.
So it X'd out as a square fairly closely, which again is hugely astronomically unlikely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Naturally occurring thing.
Yeah. Wow, that's so crazy.
Okay, and then we're getting into the privately owned runways. As discussed in my previous thread, this temple has near it the only 2 privately owned blue ice runways on the entire continent. Now, let me explain what blue ice runways mean. Obviously, Antarctica is quite snowy. And there's lots of places where you can only land smaller planes with skis. literally skis. Probably up to like a DC-7, like that old piston pounder, plane from like World War II that was used as a cargo plane. It wasn't a really big plane, but it's pretty ubiquitous. People probably know what it is. Blue ice runways, on the other hand, are solid ice. They are capable of supporting much heavier craft. They can handle, I've seen pictures of 757s and 767s on them.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
At these two runways.
That's crazy.
The Union Glacier one is a big one. Now, you and I discussed this the other day or yesterday. Joel, is the Stava heat map leak that happened a few years ago.
Someone was talking about that in the comments. Yeah, would you mind elaborating on that a bit, Danno?
Well, I'm going to, because the one that everybody was so up in arms about was the one that actually happens to be Union Glacier.
Right.
That's the one. Oh, it's a secret base. Well, no, it's actually an airport.
Right.
It's not really an airport, but it's a runway.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why that it's there is, if you see the Vinson Massif in the picture there, that's actually the tallest point in Antarctica. So you get these guys that got tons of money who want to conquer all seven, the highest peak in each of the seven continents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that airport services.
Gotcha.
Ostensibly on the surface. And I say that right in the next tweet. But this company also provides logistical support for a fee. They can justify anything they want. And these are the guys that own the two runways, Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. Now, you'll see that picture that they've got there is a Russian military transport.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ilyushin 72, I believe. The C-117 will fit down there too. They use those at McMurdo quite often, the ones that fly out of
I'm going to go ahead and blow this up here. People can see it. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I believe that picture is at Union Glacier.
Yeah, you know what? It probably is.
So this company takes people to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what kind of people are they taking to Antarctica? Just anybody who wants to go? Really elite rich people, scientists? I mean, what's the deal?
I'm sure your green spends as well as theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if you can afford it, they'll take you. There's no, there's no limitations on that. So, that whole thing is a very, very, very interesting and a rabbit hole in and of itself. And my first thread actually dove into those guys a little bit and the blue ice runways there. That's kind of where I was going with my very first thread, and then I cut it short. But yeah, they're a private company that owns two runways in a continent that nobody can own anything, and they provide logistics support for governments and private individuals with enough money.
Maybe that was their loophole.
And they happen to have two blue ice runways that just happen to be on either side of this funky looking pyramid in the middle of the goddamn continent called the Temple of the One.
You can see it right here.
Very weird.
I mean, you look at this. So here's Temple of the One. Then we got Union Glacier Airport and Patriot Hills,
which is their older airport, but I believe they still use it. And I believe there's a base there too. It's not a year round. It's a summer only base for Argentina or somebody, or Chile.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, that is wild. That is wild. So
there's just a lot of things that make you scratch your head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Now we're going to pop back down to Mount Erebus. I mean, I've laid out some really strange things along this whole chain here. So let's kind of get back to where we started here. Now, one of the things that we've noticed over the years, past 10 years especially, is a lot of really high church and political and business leaders just arbitrarily going to Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the heck?
The weirdest one, potentially, was Secretary of State John Kerry made a trip down to Antarctica immediately after the 2016 loss by Hillary Clinton. Like, he was there the next day.
That's so weird, right? I mean, I remember it being weird at the time. It's
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah, why?
And he went to Mount Erebus.
One of his
Really?
stops was Mount Erebus.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I've actually gotten my hands on his Fitbit heat map, the Strava heat map of the time he spent there.
Look
Now
at
click
this.
on that left one. Okay.
Look at this, guys.
Now the little
So crazy.
thing down at the bottom there where all the red lines are, that's about where McMurdo and the Scott base are. So that's
Yeah,
where
it's
he
about
went.
right in here, I believe, right, Danno?
I can't see your mouse.
It's kind of it's where that little arm or peninsula kind of
Right, the bottom.
out. It's down towards the bottom of that.
Yeah. Now, Mount Erebus is obviously the little pimple looking thing at the top that's got the little red square with a little jiggly line on it.
Right
Okay.
here.
So what is he doing up there?
Yeah, why was he up here? See, all these red lines are where he was.
Why was
Get
he
there.
at the crater? Helicopter potentially.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, yeah.
I would have to look at the date of when it happened to see if a helicopter trip would have been possible. I did not dig into it that deeply. Well, hold on. Immediately after the election would have been November, which is summer down there. So yeah, it would have been a helicopter ride.
What the heck was he doing there?
Well,
So
let's
weird.
continue on with the thread because that'll get interesting.
Yes.
This is crazy. Wow.
So why in the hell, no pun intended, I think,
Yeah.
would such a high-ranking U.S. government official head down that way at that time, then travel to the crater of Mount Erebus? Virgin sacrifice?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at this video and tell me if this puts you in mind of a fictional mountain description. Now, what this video is the one I was talking about earlier, where a couple guys walk in to some of the fumarole passages.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that this is the exact one that they utilize, but if you want to just start the video and let it run for 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, let me get this pulled up really good for you guys.
Yeah.
So this is the actual Mount Erebus volcano in Antarctica.
Yes, these
Okay.
are what's known as fumaroles actually down there. Go ahead and just fast forward a little ways into it so people can see some of the stuff. There you go. He's sitting at the edge of the crater.
Watch
there.
for bombs that are tracking up into the air and try to pick out the ones that might be coming toward you and step out of the way. It's the last thing you want to do is turn away from the crater or run or crouch down. Keep your attention toward the lava lake.
Now,
look
pause
up
that for a
and
second.
move out of the way.
Okay, he's standing on the edge of the crater of Erebus.
Yeah, he's right on the rim there.
Now, you see how deep that is?
Yeah, I don't see that
you
lake of
can't,
fire.
You can't see it. This is pretty deep.
Does
All I
that
see is
remind you
smoke.
of anything maybe potentially called a pit?
The pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A really deep pit?
Yeah,
It's definitely a
it's
pit.
The very definition of a pit.
Okay. If you scroll forward a little ways, I think that they get into fumarole.
Let's see. Looks like
Yeah, they're climbing down into the crater and stuff there. But later on, there you go.
Here we go.
Of ice, sometimes reaching 2 stories in height. It is possible to descend into some of them.
No thanks.
You only have to
Nope.
be careful to avoid the ones containing toxic gases.
Keep going in there.
Now, the music they chose for this is just
Yeah. That's just too much. That's too much.
scroll forward just a little ways.
That's bizarre.
There you go. So basically, they've got passages all over that mountain. They're showing you a difficult one to traverse, admittedly. But if there's one, there's more.
Of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we can bump out of that now. That's
That
enough to
is
give people
nuts.
the idea
That
of
is
what
so
I'm talking
wild.
about there.
Oh man.
Oh, looks like
To
it.
the beginning.
Yep, took me all the way
Wow.
back to the beginning. Give me 1 second,
We have
Patriots.
some
Not a problem.
scrolling to do.
Wow, This thread is quite amazing. Wow.
A little more.
There we are.
A little more. Okay. So, does that whole picture put you in the mind of something? Well, I'm of course referring to Mount Doom in the Lord of the Rings, where Frodo and Gollum end up going to destroy the one true ring. Via passage through the side of the crater wall, they end up in an area where they can access the Lake of Fire, written about in the 40s. Now, the thing that people need to keep in mind here, and this is a connection I did not make, I needed to dig on this some more, but I didn't go down that road, is the author of The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, was a British author who was basically a language professor who, I went all Connery there, professor. Anyway, he was a language professor at Oxford, I believe, and he obviously would have been in touch with a lot of the explorers, the British explorers that were going to these areas.
Jeez.
Wow.
So
he would have talked to people that, had been down.
Possible that he got the idea from Mount Doom. Now, keep in mind, he actually had the game plan and the outline for these books done probably in the 20s and the 30s. Tolkien wrote, prolific writer. We only know about, most people only know about the 3 main books or include The Hobbit. But he wrote probably another 40 books worth of just notes.
Oh, wow.
Have been put into about his world that he created. So anyway, again, there is fact in fiction. There's fact in myth. Where do you find it? Well, when you see this many coincidences, you begin to start to wonder, did he talk to some of the guys that have been to Erebus down there and he get an idea, hey, that'd make a great final scene place for my book.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Now, did Kerry go down there to rid themselves of the One Ring? No, of course not. They'd never give him that much power in the world. What I do think he did do, and many other Cabal did before him, is consult with the being that is chained in the lake of fire in the bottomless pit at the bottom of the world.
Oh,
wow.
A stretch?
Maybe.
Satan, Beelzebub, Baal, Moloch, the devil, whatever you want to call him, he's real and he exists. I mean, we can't deny that he exists. I don't care if you're Christian, Jew, hell, even a Satanist. You got to admit your Lord and God is there.
Yeah.
He exists. It's there. Whether it takes the form of what we want, of what we interpret or not, is a whole nother story. But there is a real entity or being that is known as the ultimate evil. Okay.
It's just
whatever you want to call him.
for me to believe that, but I guess it's
real.
Not that hard anymore.
And he
these
exists.
days, but
yeah.
Jeez.
Even if it's just the idea of it that exists, it still exists. There's still something.
Let me paint this picture.
I definitely believe in the idea, but we're talking like the actual being, chained down there. Like,
okay. Let me maybe form a better picture for you. Think about the Cabal. Okay. We have a group of people of, however many people that for hundreds, if not potentially thousands of years, have been moving towards one common goal.
Yes.
Do you know ever a group of humans who could march in a straight line for more than a day or two, let alone millennia?
Yeah, very good point.
Okay. That takes the focus and direction of a very singular entity and thought process.
Yeah, it's just mind-blowing because,
So if that were true and he is restrained or chained, like who chained him?
Well, who do you think?
That would have had to been God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting because it does, you have, like you're saying, you have like years and years and years of the world elite doing this, and it's all related back to their same ideal or entity they worship.
Right,
Right.
but okay, so this says he is king of this world via God, and until God comes back, his will has been law.
In the
But-
Bible, it
Mhm.
states that
Yeah.
Satan is the king of the world.
Right.
So you guys are saying that God made Satan the king of the world.
Literally, yes.
Yeah.
The Bible says
Why
that.
would God do that?
That's a question for God.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we all have to suffer before we can become better.
Yeah.
The
There is growth in trauma.
human nature is such that we have to learn the hard way.
Well, he's not the king of my world. That's all I'm saying.
Amen.
But-
Not going to disagree
just-
there, but he
But
has
for a
been
lot of
given
these world elite.
his will is the will of the world unless God decides otherwise, and
Yeah.
he does often, but a lot of times he doesn't, and that perhaps is an answer for people to say, well, why does God allow babies to die or whatever?
Right.
Because God is letting this happen based on his plan, not
Right.
what we think his plan should be. But he's been restrained, chained, and kept from exercising his full might. That doesn't mean he still doesn't have power, but he's there. So we have an extremely powerful holy relic, the Ark of Gabriel, located at one end of this mountain chain. Actually, it's in the middle.
Hmm.
And in the center of this chain, we have the Pyramid of the One that sent Buzz Aldrin into medically induced evacuation from the
That's right.
continent.
Yes, I
saying
remember
we
that.
are all in danger. It is evil itself. Probably a good place to have evil chained at the Temple of the One. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he's at the Lake of Fire. Who knows?
Right.
There's just so many places that this could be going on, and so many coincidences that it just staggers the mind. Then at the far end, we have Mount Erebus with all of its coinkydinks, a mountain chain that also happens to look a lot like a snake, if you look at the shape of it, which by
Mhm.
itself doesn't mean much, but coupled with all this other stuff just makes you scratch your head.
Oh yeah.
Put all of it together, and I have to wonder what the fuck is really going on down there. It can't be good. Oh, and then Rothschild Island. At the Ark of Gabriel, end of the continent. Yes, it's real. Yes, it's named. Yes, it's spoopy. There are even guided boat tours of cabal types down in that area who perform art and other such on board as these boats as they visit Antarctica.
Oh,
The
man.
Antarctic Biennial and the reinvention of the world from Antarctica.
What?
Wow.
And scroll down to the Board of
We-
Trustees.
Look at this.
Look at who I've got highlighted there.
Let me zoom that in. Look at that.
And there's
Marina-
another
Oh,
couple names.
Abramovich. Oh gosh.
Why am I not?
Vanessa Branson over to the right, I was told later, is Richard Branson's sister.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Wow.
There was another name that somebody, it was one
Wow.
of the Russian names. They're all Russian names. Anyway, there was another one that was well known apparently too that I was not aware of.
Yeah. What the heck is a performance artist?
Well, that's what she
Yeah,
supposedly
Character.
does.
that's
Right.
what she
That's her crap.
supposedly is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole nother
Performance
can of
art.
worms. That lady. Ugh, she's sickening.
Disgusting.
Well,
yeah.
she's one of their high priestesses, high witches.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
anyway, moving along. Okay, let's talk quickly about preterism. Now, this is going to be controversial, and I'm sorry if this upsets some people, but I think we need to all be aware and open-minded about the potential that some of what we've been taught religiously is either misleading or incorrect. And again, that's going to be a very controversial statement, and I apologize for people that might offend. Regrettably, I think you're going to find out very quickly that, there's going to be a lot of changes in people's thought processes.
Right.
Let's just say, what's the one thing that'll put 99% of the people in the hospital? It isn't child sacrifice.
Right.
It's-
Basically, it's the biblical belief that revelations has already occurred, either fully or partially being the key word. It is a small group that believes this, but there are biblical scholars who also ascribe to this thought process, meaning there's a legitimate core of biblical scholars and people who believe that this is the way that we should be interpreting things. Okay.
Right.
okay.
With that said, that means that our basic understanding of revelations and specifically the timelines contained therein could be flawed badly.
Mhm.
Remember, it's important to keep an open mind about much of this. We don't know what our understanding has been contaminated by.
True.
Does this rearrange some biblical order? Yes, it does. But we know that the Bible has been tampered to a large degree over the years. So we have to accept that things might not be exactly as we think them to be, but I'm betting they are close. Now, I'm going to throw out one perfect example, specifically on the Protestant side of the world, the King James Bible that everybody refers to, and well, not everybody, I shouldn't make flat statements quite like that, but a lot of people refer to as like the definitive Christian Bible.
Right. The standard go-to.
Yes.
Mhm.
Do you know who was in charge of its translation?
No, but
Wasn't it Constantine or something?
No. You're
wasn't
thinking of the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah, we're
Mhm.
thinking of Council of Nicaea, but I know he had a hand in putting some stuff in there that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, Sir Francis Bacon was in charge of
Right.
the translation of the King James Bible. And Sir Francis Bacon is a known Illuminati, and among other things.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what else? Tell me. I know that name. What do I know it from?
Well, a lot of people think he actually wrote the Shakespeare plays.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now you got her.
Right. Okay.
So he was fairly well known. He is very controversial in and of himself if you do some studying of history. But he was not a person that, I mean, he was part of the Royal Society. He was part of the Illuminati. I mean, the Rosicrucians. He was in all of it.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. And this is the person that was in charge of translating the Christian Bible.
Yeah, that doesn't make me comfortable
Hmm.
knowing that thought. And I've often wondered and speculated to Kerry, Danno, that we have our Bible, right, but we have so many different translations of it, and that whole saying "lost in translation" does carry a lot of weight.
Well, man, this is a can of worms.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You've got those who accept that it's a possibility that there could be some issues. And then you have a lot of people who they have to believe by faith that God would not allow that to happen. But here's the thing. God is not, I mean, the Bible that we're talking about states that God is not the one that's the king of this world right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's given that power to somebody else. Now, that doesn't mean that he, again, can't exercise his power when he wants,
Right.
or when he deserves. I mean, his will is the ultimate will. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it isn't, and there will come a time where that obviously will be the foremost will that is going to happen. But
Yeah.
right now we have this other thing going on, and it's called the shithead, aka Satan,
Yeah.
that is causing all these problems for us. Well,
Yep.
what is what is the one thing that has been in common with all these mechanisms that we've seen out of the cabal? It's a method of control.
Yep.
Hmm.
Is religion not also a method of control?
Well, it is, and that's why I like to tell people, it's better to have faith. It's better to have faith.
Exactly.
Over
And,
religion.
and I want to clarify for people, I'm not talking about God and spirituality in your
No.
relationship with God.
No.
I am specifically talking about the church itself.
Right.
Religion.
The hierarchy,
that's
the
like
structure,
a business. Yeah.
Their interpretation of what they're teaching you.
Right.
Okay. It's always been about control. It's about controlling the masses. It's about keeping people from knowing. It's about whatever. It's about getting money out of them.
Right. And
It's
also
about
the idea
control.
that you need this external person to bring you close to God.
Yeah, you
which
need
I don't think that's true. You don't
you need the arbitrator to get there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
Like Trump would say, let's cut the middleman out and you can have
cut out the middleman. Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
And I believe that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't believe that there is supposed to be a hierarchy of, people telling you what to believe and how to believe and stuff like that. I believe that
Right.
relationship is between you and God, and
Right.
you and God only. And it's,
Absolutely.
if you find other people of like mind, great. Then discuss it amongst themselves. You are now what a church is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
Yes. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm pontificating. I shouldn't be. My apologies. So let's also draw some similarities from the Lord of the Rings. Let's go right from the Bible back to the Lord of the Rings. The Balrog was contained within Moria, a mining city colony deep underground in the middle of the mountain chain. The Balrog being
Right.
The
deep-
basically not quite Melkor, but the next level of evil,
yeah.
King Demon, as it were.
Mhm.
Mount Doom and its Forge of Fire. Remember, there is fiction and myth. Can I draw any hard conclusions from these discoveries? Well, a couple. I fully believe that Satan, or whatever we're going to call evil, is alive, but constrained as described in the Bible in the pit. We have the passage to the Hades and the underworld with its lake of fire. We also have the supposedly incredibly powerful artifact down there just now. Put it together, and it just looks like we need Frodo and Samwise to get the job done. As much as I'd like to keep this lighthearted, I believe it's deadly in reality.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that is amazing.
Am I meaning to alarm people with it? No, not at all. I just want people to open their eyes to the possibility that this could be could be true.
Right. Giving food for thought,
There's a lot of amazing coincidences going on down there that if you start stringing them together, which is kind of one of the things that I do, it just adds up to a picture that makes you scratch your head and go, And the more you look to kind of get away from it, the more it kind of draws you in and says, no, this is really what's going on.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
Absolutely. So I think that we're coming up on an hour and a half here, Danno. Did you want to take some questions from anybody in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do so.
So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat, and we'll take a few and ask Danno and get his thoughts on it.
I'm sure I'll get some hard biblical questions here.
the harder, the better, right? No.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, just kidding.
I'm a little rusty on some of it.
No worries.
Well, Joel can help you out.
Try my best. So let's get this pulled up here.
Are you getting the chat pulled up? What are you doing, Joel?
Oh, I'm just waiting on questions. So, yeah, this is some very, very interesting stuff. One of the things that, and I can't remember if we covered this or not, something I'd like to know about is, so the Temple of the One, did you say that was named by the Russians? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know who renamed it. I had found the pyramid a long time ago when I was doing my initial dig and had zoomed in on it and was doing my head scratching and looking at it and going, wow, that's kind of strange. And it was not named. And then about 5 months ago, it all of a sudden got named.
So we have a question from Octavius.
Yes.
He's wanting to know, has it ever been proposed that Antarctica may be where the Garden of Eden was? Interesting question.
That is actually something I have heard. Did not pursue it too much. It's a possibility. Hang on a second. Let me look at something I have here, because there's one specific thing about the Garden of Eden that is always the case with the Garden of Eden. And that is the two rivers.
Ah, gotcha.
And I've got a map of Antarctica that shows what it would look like without the ice. So I'm just kind of looking at that map and seeing if I see a potential for two big rivers. And I kind of do, but they don't. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Joe, I'm with you. These facts are so new to me also. I don't know what to ask either. So, yeah, I know. I feel you.
Yeah, I wish we could figure out how to get my screen showing. But yeah, I think I just found something that could potentially be a split river system like is described. And it's, see, where is it? It's actually almost directly underneath the South Pole.
Wow. I'm going to see here if there is a way, because I'd like people to be able to see your screen. Let me see here.
Yeah, what did we have to do yesterday to make that work? I don't remember. I thought we had it figured out.
Yeah, let's see here.
Because I thought we saved all those settings.
Yeah, I'd really like people to see what you're looking at.
guess I better close some windows then. No.
Okay, I got you, Danno. Here you go. You should. I'm gonna go ahead and make you the host, and
Okay.
you should be able to share your screen now. And let's go ahead.
You're the host now.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Boy, are you guys in for a treat. You ready for another hour and a half? Okay, this is the map that I have. It's zoomed in a little bit right now, so it's a little grainy. But you can see what Antarctica, and you can see green is about sea level, blue goes down below sea level, and red is obviously mountains. But anywhere you see blue, you're liable to have a river. Well, if you look right here,
Oh yeah.
there's a path, and then over here, there's another path.
Yeah, 2 rivers.
2 rivers merging into one. So that makes this area here, and the South Pole is right about there, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Oh, there's Temple the one zoomed in really close. That's what I was trying to show everybody earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Let me back out a ways here. And yes, I'm sorry, I've got everything marked right now, so there's a mess of stuff on here. Okay, there's the South Pole. The Adamson South Pole Station is basically the South Pole. So there, boom. Yeah, I'm going to say the South Pole's right there, basically at the middle of the Y of the rivers, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say that it's a possibility that the South Pole could be the Garden of Eden. Now, with that said, I think that there's other places potentially on land that are even on non-frozen land that might fit the bill even better. Obviously, everybody accepts Mesopotamia as the garden, but there's another pair of rivers in the Indus Valley at the head of India that also match, and the civilization timeline is even more ancient than the Mesopotamian area. But again, that's another one of those big digs. It's related to that northern India Aryan thing again. It kind of goes back to that, but
right.
Okay, so Suze has a great question here.
Okay.
Why would God let us find the real hell? That is a good question. I mean,
why wouldn't he? The whole Bible is nothing but ways to avoid getting there.
Yeah.
I mean,
good point.
so
it's like these people know that it's real and they've chosen to honor it in a way, and
well,
I
let's
don't know.
did you well okay, you're going off onto that path. There is let's talk about Luciferianism and Satanism really quickly. They follow a thing called natural law. Natural law is basically survival of the fittest. Nature.
It's like do what you will, kind of like
yes, exactly.
Basically, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the impact of anybody if you can do it. If you can do it, the world has given you permission to do so.
Right.
Which pretty much describes their behavior pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me put a more interesting picture up here so people can stare at what all's down there when we're talking. Wow. Basically, what Satanists and Luciferians believe is that they believe that there is God. Obviously, they do, but they believe that he is so remote and so withdrawn from creation, as it were, that he has little to no interest in what goes on. He's just that much bigger, that much higher, that much more ascended, 5th, 6th, 7th dimension, whatever.
Right.
So they literally reach for the stars and settle on Lucifer as being the next best thing, because, well, isn't he the angel of light?
The light bringer, yeah.
The light bringer. So they've managed to convince themselves that Lucifer is actually the way. He is, and in a cold, hard logic way of looking at it, it kind of makes sense.
Right, but it also seems like they're a bunch of underachievers, just.
Well, yeah,
I mean, it makes sense for lazy, horrible people who want to do whatever the heck they want to do and not have any consequences for their actions.
It seems kind of lazy too, like you said, reaching for the stars, and the first thing they found, oh well, cool, Lucifer, so we're going with that. Well, yeah, that's kind of a.
And that's basically what it boils down to. They're just okay. Well, we're never going to be able to get to God, so hey, Lucifer, let's go with that because he's here and he'll give us power. And that's what it boils down to. So,
yeah, what a terrible thought process,
But so Lucifer, and Satanism are two different things, though, correct?
They have their roots in the same, basically.
Yeah, they're rooted in the same.
So is Satanism, Lucifer just another name for Satan, or
yes? Okay. Moloch, Baal, Beelzebub, Lucifer.
They all refer
Satan,
to the same entity.
Devil. It's all the same basic entity.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I'm not sure how to say this word. You want
to Danno, so we got another question from Damon R. It's any thoughts on the Piri-Reis map? I believe that's how it's
the Piri-Reis map.
Piri-Reis map.
Un momento.
Mm-hmm.
I can show this to people. Ancient history.
You're getting a first eye view of the mind of Danno here.
There's the Piri-Reis map. Or no, that is not the Piri.
Take it off.
I've got that labeled wrong. It's not the Piri-Reis map. Oops.
That looked like the Mary Dees map.
Yes.
Okay, so while he's looking for that, maybe we can address this next one. Do you believe that Trump is chosen by God?
Yes.
A lot of people do.
I do.
A lot of people do.
I definitely do. Yeah. And it's very, very specific point in time. Like no other time in history could something like this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the Piri-Reis map.
Okay.
Now this is a map that was done. Wow, it's fairly old. It's like 1600s. But the thing that brings everybody's noodle baking is this coastline right here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's a snake. What is that?
That is a coastline of Antarctica.
Yep, that's Antarctica.
And it shows beings and animals and rivers and all sorts of stuff and ships sailing towards it and in it and around it. Mm-hmm. When Antarctica wasn't even supposed to have been discovered until the 1800s sometime.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The Piri-Reis map is here showing us that, and it's not totally inaccurate. I mean, there's some similarities to it.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a little twisting your head to the left and holding your tongue out to the right and standing on tiptoes. But I mean, you get there. You can kind of see Africa over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the flip side, with its positioning where it is, and with Africa here, and this bump here, and this big river system here, I would actually venture to say that this is South America, and that's the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go up here and you got an island up here, that's probably Cuba or maybe the Florida Peninsula. Or the Yucatan Peninsula or something like that. So, I don't know. There's many ways this can be interpreted. Obviously, I would have my own. I am interested in this island. Holy Jesus.
What are we looking at?
Thank you, Damon, for just turning on a light bulb for something else for me.
Good job, Damon.
We're not going there right now. Let's just say Atlantis and call it that.
Okay, teaser.
Yeah, total tease. We'll go down that path some other time. Let's just say that I think I have found Atlantis on the maps, and the point of this rose,
compass rose right there,
is exactly where it is.
Huh.
And that usually means that those are usually given as the center of the world. Now, the other thing I notice is that where these are located, those are really similar to ley lines too.
Yeah, they are.
Huh.
Yeah, they look a lot like ley lines.
And if you're not sure what we mean by ley lines, let me kind of get over to that area of the world. Click on it so it goes like this. Zoom out just a little bit so you can kind
Yeah,
of see.
someone had asked earlier if the pyramid in the Temple of the One, if
No.
the like the four corners were pointing to anything, or if that was like significant in any way.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, so off that tip, there's a major. Where'd it go? There it is.
So this is the grid.
Huh. Okay, so
Where'd it go?
there's Africa.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back.
There it
Yep,
is.
there's Africa right there.
And it's actually showing it more up here.
Yeah.
It could be that one.
Oh, yeah, it could be. Ooh, yeah, it very well could be that one.
But you see the Amazon comes out down here, and then there's that bump. And you got the Cuba and all this crap up here. So I think that's very similar to what we're seeing on the Piri Reis map.
So can you guys explain what exactly are these lines? What are these indicating for those of us who might not know?
Okay, ley lines. Wow. They are and I'm going to use the word supposed,
Okay.
because nobody has been able to prove it. Nobody has been able to measure it. Nobody has been able to totally quantify it. But as they are a supposed power grid of Earth energy that runs across the globe.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Each color represents a different flavor, as it were. Peace, tranquility, strength, things like that. And where they converge are power points. For instance, this one here, this convergence right here, is a very, very, very important one, because number one, it's basically in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But also, it's just, there's a lot of things that go on in this area. I mean, we've got little we got Epstein Island right down here at the convergence of another couple. And then we've got this corner here, which is really close to one corner of the Bermuda Triangle. And then we've got Bermuda. So, I mean, we've got our triangle there. Okay. And I actually have a thread on that. So, we can touch on that at some other time.
Is there some way, or is there some place you can direct people to be able to look this up and look up as far as like what each color means and what the convergence of certain colors means?
Give me just a second here. I will go find the
Because
link.
it's really interesting, and if I'm sure there's people that want to look this up in greater detail. Yeah. Okay, so we have a lot of questions, guys.
I'm sure we're generating questions like mad.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Oh, it looks like a new Q drop too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't even have my queue open.
Gary Cox is saying that. 48, 46.
Someone wants to know, Richard wants to know, Danny, have you seen the pics of on Mr. MBB 333 showing a disc structure uncovered by thawing ice? Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay.
That's one of the things, right?
Let's backtrack, get away from everything we were just talking about, and go back to what we were going to do originally.
Yeah.
Debunking.
Yep. Let's get there.
I just did a thread on anomalies in Antarctica. One of the things I talked about 2 days before he dropped that video was the 65-foot disc.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that he took what I did and made his own thing out of it, but I'll leave that for you to decide based on the fact that he did it 2 days after I dropped my thread.
Yep.
You'll notice that I have it marked in my thread. It's right here. I'll even take the marker off so you can see it. It's this shape right here. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the way he showed it, this is not something to get all worked up about. If you'll look, there are meltwater ponds and depressions all over.
Yeah.
They're all roughly circular. I think what we're seeing is the fact that we may have a spot that happens to be semicircular,
Mm-hmm.
that just happens to look symmetrical.
Yeah.
One of the things that we can do with Google Earth that's very interesting is that we can go back in time. So this is the most current picture of that area. The picture that we're referencing is from 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And you go back further and it's just crap again. So we have a single picture of the area showing this. And again, I mean, you can see all over the place. I mean, it's not like it's a unique feature in this area to have
Right.
melt ponds and things like that. I mean, they're all roundish. There's
Yeah.
not,
Yes, they are.
they all have some roundness to them. I mean, is it strange that it's almost perfectly semicircular? Well, from this perspective, yeah, it is. But if you get up on top of it, it might be more of a elongated D shape. We're making some assumptions, and
Right. Yeah.
you can quite clearly see the edge of the ice here.
Mm-hmm.
The sun is coming from this direction, so the shadow would indicate a drop, and then this. So this is not on top of the ice like he was proposing. It's actually a drop from the ice.
Right.
Okay.
Because you can see the shadows over here.
Mm-hmm.
So the light is coming from this way, and you get the
Mhm.
shadows down in here. So we follow it here. The light's coming from this way. The shadow indicates a drop. That's not a rise. So it's not the edge of a flying saucer that's sitting on top of the ice. It's visually the exact opposite. So
Yeah. Yeah.
no, it's not a flying saucer.
Yeah. Or half of a flying saucer.
Or half of a flying saucer that's magically welded into the rock.
Right. Right.
No, it's there might be some sort of a heat source there that happens to be melting it in partial circle like that. We see stuff like that in Iceland and all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, in Antarctica has plenty of geothermal activity. So
Yes.
let's not. That's one of those things. Let's not make something out of nothing.
Right. Right. We want, and that's something, we've talked about. We want to give people the best information possible and not sell people on hopium. That's not something that we're about.
Right. Although a large part of what we do is speculation,
Right.
and or opinion.
Now, it is okay to speculate
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, you have to think that's one of the biggest fights that's going on right now is the fight for your mind. Critical
Exactly.
thinking.
And so that's why it is all about critical thinking
Mhm.
and, discernment and all of that. It's so important right now.
But getting the best possible info out there is something, we all should be doing.
Definitely. So 101 Truth says, please explain the blood falls, if that's what it's called.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I
Let's
saw something,
let's finish debunking first.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this is another good one.
Another huge one is the snow ice face that everybody talks about down there.
Oh, the snow. Yeah, the face. Right.
Now it's there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's sitting right there in front of you.
Yep, it's right there.
The only time you can see it is when it's shown at the right angle.
Yep. See it?
See
I'm
the
not
eyeball,
seeing it, guys.
the nose, the mouth.
Nose, mouth.
Forehead.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see it
Okay.
now. But there's that, what is that called? That humans are,
Periodola.
okay. Yeah. We're very prone to seeing faces and things, guys.
Yes.
Well,
we're very prone to trying to seek order out of
right.
chaos.
Out of chaos.
So
Exactly.
the human mind is constantly trying to identify things.
Mhm.
So if it sees something that it thinks can identify, it automatically identifies it as such.
Right.
Yeah.
Something
We
we're familiar
naturally look
with.
for
Yes.
faces and stuff.
Now let's take from the tip of the head to the tip of the chin. This is 2,500 feet tall.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It's enormous.
So let's back this off. And let's just imagine that this was a person. So shoulders, chest, waist, legs to about here. Okay, so we go from there to the top of the head. Now let's convert this to miles. Call it 2.5 miles, just for the hell of it.
Only 2.5 miles.
Okay, number one, this is not a dummy. Number one, number two, this is not a mummy. This is not a robot. This is not an alien. This is not anything. This is a crevasse and a crevasse, and a funky shape, and that's it.
Right. It's a natural formation.
It's a natural formation.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure that it lasts. Well, it changes.
Oh, it's
That's the
pretty
one that
weird
people
looking
use.
though.
That's the one because it's so weird looking.
Yeah.
But it
Once
stays
you
pretty
see it, you can't
consistent going
unsee it.
back.
Right.
So was Trump told he wasn't welcomed in Antarctica? Set free indeed says, do y'all remember that? When he was told that he wasn't welcome in Antarctica. That's
I'm going to
interesting.
say, honestly, I don't know.
If that's true, that is very interesting. Very telling.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to debunk one more thing before we get on to fun stuff. This video that has been circulating purported to be Antarctica. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can you say Giza, anybody?
Yeah.
Hmm. Hi, Letitia. So what is okay? That's weird.
Okay. I mean,
And the footage
let's
is
put the
so
mysterious music with it to make it seem more creepy. And then the badly photoshopped chopper in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is footage going around that they're saying is Antarctica.
Yes, and it is not. The first set of pyramids seen out of the back of the chopper are very obviously Giza, the 3 pyramids in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You know, and that video footage was also so grainy. I mean,
So horrid.
yeah, it's easy to say
Okay.
it could be anywhere.
I mean, there you go. There's the Giza necropolis.
yeah.
There's
And
your 3
that's what we
pyramids.
were looking at.
That's what you were seeing. That
Yeah.
second video when they were on the ground and they showed the 3 pyramids in the distance. That's the 2 big ones and the little one that they showed in the distance. Just contrast burned way up so it makes it look white. Okay.
Mhm.
It's not the same set of pyramids down in Antarctica in the same arrangement. Trust me. I don't think it's down there. I've poured over that continent pretty aggressively
Mhm.
and researched a lot of areas down there. Not saying I've seen it all, but
Right.
odds are no.
Right.
And the last bit, if any of you have ever played Destiny, the video game,
Mhm.
you'll
Okay.
recognize that triangular blocky structure is directly from the Vex world
Right.
and the Vex architecture.
Mhm.
And just kind of darkened up and made to not look like it was out of Destiny.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's not really what you guys are seeing. You're seeing a photoshopped military op that somebody then stuck some Giza pyramid information in and
Right.
trying to pass it off as something it isn't. So somebody asked about the blood falls. Since we're here,
Yes.
Yeah.
This is very interesting.
okay, let me, before I get too zoomed in here, let me get back into Antarctica. It's right in front of me. There it is. And anomalies and blood falls. Let me clean this up a little bit here. No, I don't want any. Okay. This is the blood falls. Somebody has amped the color on this picture aggressively.
Yes.
If we take and we blend the contrast out of it, or the saturation out of it, it gets to be a more natural color state. But it is a reddish color. If we zoom in here, I gotta go back a couple years.
Oh, it actually is called Blood Falls.
Yeah, you can kind of see the reddishness there.
Yeah.
But it's not really a bright blood red. It's more of an
Right.
oxided brown.
Yeah.
It's theorized that there's either a high iron content somewhere up in the glacier chain that's melting and bringing rust down effectively, or it's algae.
Right.
Hmm.
Now, what I find very interesting is, let's back off just a little bit here. Okay. We got the blood falls right here. What do we have right here? Oh, that's Mount Erebus.
Yep, that's Mount Erebus right there.
Wait, where's the blood falls?
Right here.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
And
Right
then
there.
that's Mount Erebus.
So we're...
There's another face.
70 miles away. Another face.
I see a demonic face on Mount Erebus.
Oh.
Probably not surprising considering its name and where it's at.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that face.
Anyway, so that's that.
Right.
You'll see I've got some pyramids marked here. Some of them are really pyramids. Others are not. Henderson is one of the three-sided pyramids. You can see
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Where was that other one? The pyramid. Not so much.
Yeah.
Maybe from one angle it might look like it, but
Right.
realistically it's not.
Not
Oh,
really.
look, it's a flying saucer sticking out of the ice.
Oh, we
Oh,
found
yeah,
another
there
one.
is.
That's the other half, Danno.
Sorry.
We found it.
We
You
found
fought
it.
here.
We're heroes. But you've got another pyramid there. I'll get to that. The cave is kind of interesting. Another pyramid there. This one is there's this one over here. This one's kind of fascinating. Should we go into this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Princess Elizabeth Pyramid. Now, this pyramid is actually not named. I named it Princess Elizabeth Pyramid for a very specific reason.
Yes, a very interesting reason.
Now, it's not really that pyramidal.
Right.
But what's interesting is that right here, and we're really close, this is the base, a base. It's a summer-only base, I remember. Princess Elizabeth Station, Belgium.
Yep.
So something that people need to keep in mind that maybe it doesn't occur to everybody, and I honestly, I had to think about it before it occurred to me. Where is the European Union headquartered?
That would be Belgium.
Where is the World Court headquartered?
Also Belgium.
Brussels is the capital of Belgium.
Yep.
So anything that we see or hear that has to do with Brussels basically is the center of the cabal.
Right.
It's the center of the deep state. So why would the center of the deep state build this station right next to this, quote, pyramid? Now, I'm going to show you some pictures of this pyramid. Some of them aren't real big, but we can make that different. This is obviously from a plane. Looks like a biplane. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, it does.
But here's the base up on its little ridge, and there's the pyramid behind it.
Yep.
Ooh, Atlantis. Better not show people that. Antarctica, Anomaly. Let me just open a bunch here. Give me a second to trigger them all so I can get them all open all at once.
Absolutely.
Station. P. No, I don't need to do that. We're here. I know there's another one I was looking at. What did I do with it? I did this yesterday too, didn't I? It's right in front of me, but I can't see it.
What are we looking for?
Yeah, I feel like I'd spotted it yesterday too, and right before you got it.
I will open these for now. Now, these are all pictures I took off of somebody's blog. Pictures of this station, especially with the pyramid in the background, are actually very, very difficult to come up with. They don't exactly advertise that they have this station that close to that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you can see from the picture from here, it looks like it's a very much a pyramidal structure, but in reality, it's not. It's more of a three-sided, sort of lopsided, oblong, sort of goofy thing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, no, it's just that one. So it's just not really a pyramid. It looks like it, and in some pictures it looks really convincing,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but it is not. Let me. Did I have it in my main stuff here? Maybe that's where I had it. Here's the plan for it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, right there.
It was near the bottom. There it is, right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, and then there was that one picture from. Where did that go? Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine, brother.
There it is.
Yeah, this is all like very interesting stuff, especially what he's about to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are actually pictures of the station. Now, is that some sort of James Bond hideaway kind of crap or what?
Right. This is where like Dr. Evil would live or something.
Yeah.
If you were in Antarctica.
$1 million.
Yeah. Right.
Oh man.
I mean, these guys, it's just, it's a super high dollar, super wild, super goofy, eco-friendly,
it's a little enclosed habitat.
habitat that they've got there. Now, what's really interesting, got two of those out, is this picture here shows the station right there.
Yes.
And it's got this little arm of land sticking off of it. Well, let's go here. Okay, so we're looking here, pointing. Oh, wonder where that picture was taken from. Right on the slopes of the pyramid.
Yep. This was taken from that point, looking back at the base. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's just kind of funky to me that we've got, the Belgium EU capital base right next to one of the pyramids. That unsettles me a little bit, bothers me, especially since they don't go out of their way to show it. You'd think that'd be the primary thing that they'd focus on and everything, but they don't. They kind of like go out of their way to hide it.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the ley lines if we want real fast. Here is where I got the info from. Hagen's grid, and this file right here is the KMZ file that I use.
Okay.
You can click on that and save it. And the color coding listing is all down below. Fire,
cool.
earth, water, air, ether, dark blue rhombic dodecahedron, tricontahedron. I've never said that before. Oh, Bucky Fuller, a buckyball. Sorry, that's geek talk. Orange, light blue, lime green. So you got yang balance. So there's a lot of different great circles and connections and stuff in the ley lines. But vortexmap.com, Hagens-grid-google.php.
Right.
Excuse me.
So
Okay.
I'll leave that there for a second so people can catch up and write it down or whatever they want to do.
Vortex maps. Now, they can go to vortexmaps.com, right, and find this?
They should be able to, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, any other questions?
Check the chat.
Let me take a look here. I'm not seeing any at the moment, unless I'm missing them.
And yes, Rothschild Island is appropriately named. It is owned by them. They own it. There's some speculation as to what they really do there.
Of course, they'd have their hand down here too.
Yeah. That cruise that I was talking about earlier actually comes down in this neck of the woods.
Mhm.
It actually comes down to, I believe, hang on, let me just turn everything on for a second. Yeah, it comes down to the Rothera station. Well, I mean,
Okay.
right there.
Hmm.
So,
Wow.
be that what it may.
Wow.
Oh, here. I know we kind of covered it in the thread, but here's my basic outline of Nazi Germany
Right.
and their area that they claimed. Now, the Svarthmaren mountain entrance, we discussed that and its potential limitations. Now, what we didn't discuss was Operation High Jump. A lot
Yes.
of people
Yeah. I was just about to ask you about
Operation High
that.
Jump. There it is, right there. Now, Operation High Jump came in directly here towards Mount Erebus and the Ross Ice Shelf. Interesting.
Mhm.
They circled around to the east and the west, but notice that they kind of stopped short of
Yeah.
this area right here.
Where the Nazis had set up camp.
Well, we look at that. Gee,
That's
right where the Nazis had set up camp.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, I don't know that we can take the statement of the flying saucer thing 100% at face value.
Right.
Mhm.
Mainly because, well, they never really got to that area.
Right.
Unless the Nazis at the time of Operation High Jump were busy patrolling the whole area. And if they had the capability of patrolling that whole area at that time, they had the capability of literally running us over.
Oh, yeah.
Militarily. Yeah. So A and B don't add up. Logic dictates something different.
Yeah.
But no, Operation High Jump had a lot of strange stuff happen. Do I think that there might have been a saucer? I'm not gonna say no. But again, where would they get the resources to do anything down there? Where would, I mean, even if they did find this supposed fabled underworld land where they had this base that was, this wonderful thing where they had all that they needed, they still have to set up shop. They still have to set up industry. They still have to set up all this stuff down there to then support construction of industrial things.
Mm-hmm.
That takes decades. I don't care how dedicated you are, and hundreds of thousands of men. I just don't quite see it.
No.
Something that's supplied from elsewhere. Yeah, okay, I buy that. But as a standalone, freestanding, live on its own place,
Yeah.
eh.
It's just kind of, hey, yeah. Well.
So anyway, that's just my take on it. That's one of the reasons why I'm not really hugely on board the whole Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd, flying saucer game plan.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure that it's out there. I'm sure that we have some of that technology.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that we do.
Right.
But were the Nazis the source? Was Antarctica the source? Is it possible that there's, I mean, we're talking about these pyramids. Well,
yeah,
there's pyramids all over the world. There's pyramids in every continent of the world.
Right.
There's nothing stating that they are unique to Antarctica. It's just that the ones in Antarctica are a little harder to see than the ones in Egypt.
Yeah.
Just like the ones in South America are a lot harder to see because of the jungle.
Mm-hmm.
So we found them. Now, who the heck built them? Well, that's a conversation for a whole nother day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's, I don't know. I just don't want to sit here and say, yes, it was the Antarcticans, because, how many, I firmly believe that we live in civilization peaks or technological peaks, I'll say.
Okay.
We're currently in one. I really think that the builders of like Machu Picchu, the pyramids, the Sphinx, were another technological peak.
Mhm.
And there's probably more that go back.
Right.
You know, we know that the human mind has remained pretty much unchanged for well over 200,000 years, probably even more. So that means that our brains function at a level today similar to how they did 200,000 years ago. So does that mean that and look at our level of advance in the past 100 years alone, 200 years, let's just say 200 years.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. There's entirely possible the chance that that's happened multiple times in our history.
Hmm.
We just don't know it because it's either hidden from us,
Right.
all evidence wiped off due to natural disaster of some sort, and hidden from us, or just plain hidden from us. You know, I mean, and the common theme there is obviously that we have a lot of our history that's been hidden from us. And I think that's why we're going to find that much of our religious belief, much of our historical belief, much of our scientific belief, all of it's going to undergo a pretty radical change
Yeah.
if we truly do get disclosure as we're being told.
Mhm.
Disclosure is going to, I would say, I'll even go so far as to say that they will unify religion and science. In fact, it's kind of heading that way already. You know, what is prayer? Prayer is as people consciously putting thought out into the universe,
Right.
of a positive outcome for somebody.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
quantum physics has shown that thought does affect the universe directly.
Mhm.
They can show that your thoughts do affect matter, literally physically
Absolutely.
affecting
Just do the
matter.
rice experiment.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
I'm serious. It's true. It's yeah, it definitely
So,
is true.
you know, we're seeing where physics and science and religion and spirituality is probably a better term for what I should be using, are starting to blend together, you know.
Mhm.
So those are things that we need to be aware of and understand and accept, because I think that is where we are going.
Right.
I you know, the whole God and Satan and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and all that, I think our understanding of all that's going to change to some degree as well. I don't think God is going to go away. I don't think he's any less what we think he is.
Right.
I
In
just
fact, it
think
might even be expanded upon more.
I think it could be even more if that's possible.
Mhm.
But I think that we just need to accept that maybe the religious dogma that we've been given for the past 2,000 years is potentially not as accurate as we'd like it to be, or as accurate as those giving it to us have crammed into our heads that it
Right.
is.
You know,
Mhm. Right.
You know,
that goes, you know, I think it would go without saying for pretty much all of the world's major religions,
yeah,
because you have the people that at the top that are controlling it, and a lot of this has been done to keep us in fear, so we don't research anything for ourselves.
a lot of times the religion and the religious leaders and the worldly, earthly leaders have been the same person.
True, very
The
true.
whole era of the Holy Roman Empire, not the
Yes,
Roman Empire, but the Holy Roman
the Holy
Empire,
Roman Empire.
was the Pope and the Emperor were the same person.
Right.
Mhm.
Funny enough, that was while they were stationed in Germany, and centered in Germany. But anyway, it's a
Yeah,
whole nother story again.
Yeah. I was gonna
absolutely.
say, so guys, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours now.
Oh,
This has been fascinating though. Everyone in the chat has been really enjoying this, and yeah, they're all talking about what a great job you're doing and what an amazing researcher you are and all
yeah.
that.
So
Uh,
if you guys aren't, you should be following Danno over on Twitter at Snarkish Danno. I left the link in the comments, but I believe I can put it up there again for you.
you need
Yeah.
you want me to give it back here?
So I'm thinking that we
Okay,
we
sure.
can
Yeah, let's see
probably
if I
do
can.
this again.
Yeah,
It
I would
seems
love
like
to.
everyone in the chat is, they don't seem very bored. I just think we need to, kind of wrap it up here, but we can definitely do this again for sure.
I
If you're
would
up
be
for
more
that,
than
Dano.
happy to. Here, let
Absolutely.
me tease something.
Okay.
Atlantis. That's all I'll say.
Wow.
Okay.
Look at his location.
Oh, very interesting. That would be something to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
I
that.
have okay, think of the phrase, there's an app for that. I have a thread for that.
Of course you do.
Nice. So I was thinking, since we're here and a Q post just came out, why don't we hop over there and take a look at that real quick?
Okay.
You guys want to do that? You guys up for that?
Yeah, here. I'll stop. You guys take it back and go.
Okay, let's see here. We can jump over there real quick. Close this out.
Or I can do it real fast because I'm there already.
Oh, just got there. So let me get this opened up here and we can run over this real quick like. Yeah.
Oh, this. Oh.
Are you seeing it, Danno? We're not seeing it here.
Here, I
on
just
our
got
screen.
I just
there
got
we
it pulled
go.
up.
Okay.
Here we go. Let's go down here. So that one, yeah, we covered yesterday. Okay, so this is post 4846.
Palpatine's Revenge. This is some chatter off of when they were
Chat
using
logs.
the Star Wars as their chat log, as their chat
Yeah.
area.
Here we go. Look at this.
MF back in the news. Who's MF?
MF.
MF.
Hearing that too.
FS drop
MF back in the news. MF. I'm trying to think who that is. Because it's definitely not Mother Father.
or Mother F.
Yeah.
Work on the limey, so he's Irish.
What?
Mentioned limey in the colors, scared shitless. He's a brass ball, blue pep projects work perfectly. Huck didn't AEWP much tape. Wow, I'm not sure who the players are here.
I don't either.
MF was mentioned in company group 2. Evidently their work on the limey is paying off. Yeah, okay. Paying off how? Getting to him. Yeah, he mentioned limey in a call earlier this week. He isn't the brightest bulb, but that project has worked perfectly. So yeah, these are chat logs, and these must have been from that Star Wars game that Q has thrown out there before. So they have the chat logs of everything. Wow. Acid and Root, don't expect much from it. He's been out far too long.
So this was on May 17th. So May 18th. Everyone knows tomorrow will be a busy day for all. Last day. When S hears from Grapevine. Wow.
Maybe if we look down below this I'm not sure what's going on here.
So we got a Twitter link. It looks like to Rod Rosenstein's Twitter.
Well, RR is the first
right.
link up there. Yeah, I think we're doing
Yeah. RR, yeah. Yep. And he knows our friends have stuff on him. Huh.
Okay, this is election and integrity.
So this.
So is that the quote from Rod?
This must have been
right
pulled from.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the.
Thank you to our Justice Department and our federal law enforcement agencies for protecting our governors and all the rest of our people without regard to politics. Thank you to the Star Wars chat.
Oh, this is from
Lives.
Pepe. Yeah, Pepe Lives Matter. Wow. Okay. So. Yeah, same thing. Thank you to our Justice Department. Q just asks here, do you trust your sources? Rod Rosenstein, do you believe the election will be successfully rigged to avoid accountability? What do they have on you? Dark secrets.
I think we're just restating stuff that we already have seen and know.
Yeah. Yep.
There's been a lot of that going on.
Basically, it almost seems like they've seen this before.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we saw some of it on the Chans.
I think so.
Basically, this is just reiterating about the election integrity and the fact that there's dirt on everybody. Right. They have it all. I mean, that's the bottom line. We have it all, and they do.
Wow. That is really interesting stuff right there. Yeah, and I'm, kind of just makes you wonder. I mean, I know that Q has said that there are new eyes coming on, and this could be for that too.
Well, I also noticed that as he drops, he's getting more detailed. It's more direct English versus coded.
Yeah.
So we're getting clarity that way as well versus the really, really, really arc. Wow, my brain just went cryptic. That's the word I'm looking for. Cryptic drops that we had early on where you had to decode every single last little bit of it. Now we're getting into more open English type statements and phrases.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, go
Very
to Q
nice.
drop 64, please.
Q drop 64. All right,
Since we're here, since we have an audience, I'm going to do something for everybody that's a little bit unexpected, but I want people to see it and hear it.
Absolutely. Let me get us there real quick. And here we go. Q drop 64. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
Go ahead and read her.
All right. So 64, this was dropped November 2nd of 2017. Fellow Patriots, I'm being advised actions have created accelerated counteractions. We have not yet ascertained the scope of the attack. Watch the news outlets. POTUS's Twitter takedown was not by accident, as referenced several hours ago. Should the lights go out, please know we are in control. Do not panic. We are prepared and assets are in place. God bless. I must go for good at this point. Q.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
This is a 3-year delta. We're coming up on this delta on the
Yes,
2nd
we
of
are.
Wow, we
November.
are.
Then it's going to be the night before the election.
It is going to be the night before the election.
Hmm.
Q is saying, we knew that the Q project was a 3-year project. We were told that.
Wow.
So that's Q saying that'll be his last post. It will be on the 2nd. So
It's got massive chills.
It's got some mad chills, huh?
Like, oh my gosh.
people need to be aware that this is coming. Do not
Yeah.
panic. Things are going to get
Wow.
real rocky
Mhm.
the day of the election and a couple days after.
Yep.
There may not be comms. There may not be people talking. There may not be. Twitter might be down. Facebook might be down. All access to communication might be down. There might be riots going on. There may be other stuff. Stay hunkered down. Stay safe. Patriots are control. They have everything. They know what's going on.
Yep.
It will be taken care of. You do not need to go out and get in the middle of it. Don't put yourselves in danger. Take care of yourself and your family. Maybe stock up on a little bit of food, a little bit of water. Make sure your house is.
Yeah. We've been telling people that for a while. Just make sure you have enough
Yeah.
supplies,
For
For a few
don't
days.
worry. Just be prepared.
It's
Yeah,
not a
just-
panic. It's prepared.
Yes.
Just be prepared. Not
Oh,
oh
so
my God, the world's ending.
Looks
Right.
like Betty Loria in the chat pointed out that MF equals Michael Flynn.
Oh.
So I'm going to go
Duh.
back to that and
Didn't
look
even
at that
think of
now.
Let's put Michael Flynn back in the news. There you go.
Yep. There
White
it
House
is.
will be blindsided. Let's put Michael Flynn back in the news.
Yep. There it
That makes
is.
sense.
Drop memo on Turkey. Yes, still don't know that.
Wonder who S.
Michael Flynn's mentioned our company group too. Oh, Flynn, of course. He's Irish. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's where the limey thing is. Okay.
Yep. There it is. Wow.
This kind of bothers me though. Scroll down a little bit. Stop. Roger, any update on Camp Eagle? Asset en route.
Wait, where are you?
Right here.
Oh, okay. Any update on Camp Eagle?
Asset en route. Don't expect much from him. He's been out far too long. Asset en route usually has a very specific meaning.
Yeah.
Think born identity type crap. Like assassin.
Yeah. Oh.
But I mean, this is a long time ago, so I'm just funny. But anyway, RM is Robert Mueller.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Jeez,
interesting.
wow.
Interesting indeed.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Crazy, crazy.
It's been a
Oh,
pretty
man.
big episode.
Definitely.
I gotta say, that's
We did
very.
cover a little of everything, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Yes, we did.
definitely.
So I think with that, we're probably gonna end this one. Danno, if you would love to, we'd love to have you back another time to discuss more of this or another thread of yours, if that would be good with you.
Sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
Put out another poll.
Yeah.
We can do
See
it.
what the people want.
I'll say Antarctica again, probably.
Not gonna lie, guys, I voted for Antarctica too. So
And we really kind of, I don't want to say we only scratched the surface, but there's more there. We did touch on a lot of it though, so that was
Right.
we were able to get through a
Yeah.
lot, which was good.
absolutely. Yeah. So before we go though, we want to thank you guys all for being here with us. And if you would like to help support me and Kerry monetarily to keep this show going, you can always go check out our Quiet Voice Teespring account.
Mhm.
We have the Gold Q collection up there, and we just put up the Pepe Trump 2020 collection. Yeah, go ahead and go check it out. It helps us, and we really do
Yes,
appreciate
and
it.
up until the day of the election, you can get 20% off using the coupon code Trump 2020.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely, let's show our support.
Yeah, good times, good times. So we're gonna go ahead and end this one here, I believe. But yeah, Danno, would you like to see us out again?
Well, where we go one.
We go all.
All
Good night,
right, love you,
Patriots.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Danno. That was awesome.
It's what the TV can't tell. Have I